Hey everybody, welcome back to the Ox Gallery. My name is Barry. This is part 3 of 4 for this piece titled Poseidon's Cut, and this is one of my upcycling projects where I'm trying to incorporate hard to recycle plastics into my pieces. And in this video we're working on the framing. And in the framing I'm using some reclaimed wood from this 80s kids toy. It's like a log cabin dollhouse that you assemble. It never got put together. Somebody was going to throw it away, so I figured I could use the wood for framing out pieces like this, and it works out great. I did not have any brown stain, so what we're going to do today is I'm going to show you how to take acrylic paint, mix up some brown, and we're going to also apply it to the wood. I'm going to show you how to apply it to make it look like the wood was stained, and then we're going to seal it. And that'll pretty much be it for this video, and then in part 4 will be the completion video where we get everything wrapped up and we can get some final shots of the piece. So thank you for joining me, and let's get started. Alright, you can see that this did not get cut square, so I am going to draw a guide mark, give me a reference. This is a 150 grit sandpaper. Plenty fine enough for this, because like I said, I'm not worried about the wood looking a little rough. There we go, that's a little better there. Alright, so I'm just going to do a light sanding just to get rid of rough edges. I think I'm pretty close to where I want everything. It fits together nice enough to get the look I'm going for. Like I said, the wood can be off a little bit because it's supposed to be a bit rough looking anyway. I want it to have a little age look to it. Not looking for pristine frame perfection on this. With it being the shipwreck theme that it is. I actually kind of like how that end looks chewed up, because it's like the, you know, how you have an old boat with old boards. Alright, so I got my wood pieces ready. And when I paint these, or stain them, whichever I can find around that I'm going to do, I'm going to do the front and the back so that when these corners do go together, and if it's a little bit rough, or just if you're able to catch the light and get see in there, I want it to be the same color throughout. I don't want to be able to look in and see the lighter color of the wood if I do a dark color on the outside. Alright, the runs and the drips are minimal, so I'm going to try this rasp first just to, if it'll make quick work of it, then I'll just hit it real quick with this. If not, then we'll break out the Dremel. I'm going to get this paper down so I can control so I can catch the dust created with this, so I can put it in a container, and because it's basically going to be microplastic and nanoplastics as well, so I want to try to control the dust as much as possible, and I'll sweep it up in a container. And when I do another piece, like I did, if you saw in the beginning of this, I had poured some. I was pouring this base layer and the first layer, and it pretty much absorbs right into the resin. You don't really see it. And then when I'm going with colors like that, it's not really, it just adds more texture, if anything. So it's a way for me to be able to reuse it, or at least keep it from trying to get it in the air or in the water or in our food sources. So I'm just trying to figure out ways as I go to make this as minimalist of an impact as possible and trap as much plastic in this as possible, so that when it becomes a piece of art, somebody can hang it up and hopefully it'll stay there long enough until we start to figure out how to get rid of this stuff. Hopefully we figure out a way to do that. Just anything to slow the plastics and stuff from getting into the landfills and breaking down and leaching back into the environment. So, all right, remember, have good ventilation, and wear a mask when sanding epoxy dry, especially. You don't want to be breathing this stuff in. Yeah, in between sanding and stuff like that, you can use acetone, but when I get to the final coat like that, I don't want to use anything like acetone, mineral spirits, or anything that might damage it. So I'm just going to use, a damp, cloth. If you ever have to clean it, you could use like a non-abrasive, just a little bit of soap or something. But anyway, so I'm going to clean this off. As you saw, I swept up the dust. I can, use that in a base coat of another piece. And I'm not, that's not me trying to say you have to do it this way. I'm just trying to minimize any kind of impact I have on putting in more, plastic, based stuff out in the environment. Like I said, I saw a thing about the nano plastics and microplastics that when they break down and how it gets into the food and water supply, and it's going to end up being a pretty big issue. So, well, I mean, it already is, but you're going to start hearing more about it. So anyway, that's the whole concept here. I'm just trying to figure out ways to upcycle the plastics that we use every day, the ones that are hard to recycle, and work them into pieces of art, so that it will slow down them getting into our food and water sources and back into the environment, stuff like that. So just trying to trap it all up and make something creative out of it that we can hang on a wall or something until we figure out a way to get rid of this stuff properly. So I want to get this stuff cleaned up. I want to fold this paper up so I can reuse it another time down the road because I've got some more pieces like this coming. Just remember with the dust, always wear a mask. That's why I wasn't talking when I was filing it down. When I file it like that, I could use a Dremel tool. It happen a lot faster, but it's going to kick the dust up into the air a lot more. So if I take an extra second to file it down by hand and I go slow with it, then it will, it won't be as fine of a dust, and more of it will fall to where I can recapture it. It's a little bit more tedious, but hey, it is what it is. So I just take the good with the bad. So all right, let me get this stuff cleaned up. When I come back, we will start figuring out some color for this wood. Okay, so here we have the frame pieces, and they're kind of flipped over. I'm going to paint the inside of the angles so that if there's any light shining in at the gaps there, if anything happens, and that way you don't see the bare wood, it'll look like the same color that's going to be on the face. I'm also going to paint a little bit on the edges here just for the same purpose, so if for some reason it's ever seen, then it looks like the front of the wood. But I'm not going to paint the middle strip just because I want to make sure that the glue I use to attach it is going to have a good adhesion. So now I want to paint them brown. I want to try to make them look a little bit like the floorboards on a ship or plank boards or something like that. But anyway, I don't have a already mixed up color of brown and the acrylics that I have, so we're going to start by mixing some. One way I can do that is I can take some green, add some red, and should get a brownish color. I can also mix yellow, blue, and red, which are pretty much your primaries, and get a brownish color, which again, yellow, blue, green, then you add red, you get some brown. You can also get some brownish colors depending on the type of orange you have. Some orange shades you add a little black and make it look a little brownish. So, but I'm going to start with this green that I have. So we got emerald green and a little bit of aquaviolet. So it'll probably be a little bit more on the blue side since it's going to have the green and the aquaviolet. But we'll see. It might be a little bit dark. I may have to add some of that bright yellow or maybe some white or something to lighten it up. But we'll see how it looks. Definitely dark, and it's definitely got way too much blue in it. So let's see what happens if we add a little yellow. This is going to be been a long time since I've been mixing up colors, so this is going to be a little bit of trial and error and possibly some stuff cut out. But we'll. There you go. It's also very old paint. Now we're a bit too much into the green. Let's take a little bit of this over here. I'm going to add a little bit of this red to it here. This is a permanent alizarin crimson hue. This is also the same as the version of aquaviolet, so I may have to dip in and get my, I think I got some cadmium red or something like that in there. There we go, it should be good. moving towards brown. Just for comparison. So I'm basically just kind of doing like a paint wash just to get the brown coloring onto it. If you're doing this, you don't want to let it sit around too long and dry up on you. You don't want it to be, especially if you've got it too thick in some areas and too thin in others. Also, this is pine, so it's got some areas that aren't absorbing the wood as much as I would like for them to, like this, some of these edges. I don't know who had the kit before me. I don't know if maybe there's just some fingerprints, oils on them, or if it's just it may have been sitting somewhere that some stuff soaked in, or it might just be the condition of the wood. But it might just be part of the grain there, maybe. Yeah, I believe that's just part of the grain. All right, let's squeeze out enough for this last piece here. Browns and tans and stuff like that, and grays are those that, depending on what's around them, you can end up realizing that, you know, like a gray or brown has more blue or some kind of green or something in it. When you get furniture in that has that color in it, kind of pulls it out some, or sometimes when you put a clashing color next to it, it just doesn't seem right, something's off a little bit. And because these are such a mixture of everything, that when you see it by itself. Like, I mean, right now this is sitting next to a cardboard box on brown paper, so it's definitely going to look brown, but you know, you could definitely see some of the green in it as well. Alright, we will let that dry, and then we will come back, mix up some more brown, add a little black to it, and get us some green lines in there for effect. I'm thinking about also using some black to put in some little like dots for like looking like nails in the board or something, but we'll see. Alright, these pieces are plenty dry enough for me to try to see about doing a wood grain effect. I don't want, like, if I go with just some straight cartoony dark brown lines, it's going to look just that. It's going to look cartoony. So I don't want these lines to be much darker than the wood. I want it to be very, very faint. I don't really want it to stand out too much. I just want it to be something that's kind of comfortable, if that makes any sense. Anyway, all right, let's get started. I need to make a darker brown than that. And last time we started with green and red, so we'll start with that as well this time, and then work our way to darker. It's got a little too much blue in it. Let's add some yellow. It's not too bad. Get it real watery and see what I can do. I'm actually tempted, since you can already see the wood grain through the wood, I'm thinking about just using this to make the nail holes so that it looks like some plank boards or something. So let's do that, because I don't, you know, I'm really worried about, you know, just making it look too, like I said, fake or cartoonish if I try to add some wood grain, especially since you can already see some of the wood grain on here. So we'll do that. We'll leave that. And let me get some of this. Alright, maybe we're going to need some black in here, I guess, or something to darken that up a little bit. There we go. Okay, so now alright, there we go. That will look beautiful. Alright, so we'll let that dry for a little bit, and then I'm going to spray it with a clear coat. I think I'm going to go with a matte finish clear coat. I'll see if I got some satin. I don't want to go with a semi-gloss or a gloss, but if I got satin or matte finish, I'll go with that. And then we can spray those down, get them sealed up, and then attach it to the piece. Alright, so I did find a old can of some clear satin here, so we'll see if this thing will actually work. I shook it up real good, so we'll see what happens. Let me turn the spray nozzle. And I know you guys probably couldn't see when I was painting it because it's just a little dark dots that I put on there to make it like nail holes. But I'll show some up close shots when the piece is all done so you can see that. But it's basically just to make it look like boards with nails in it. Alright. Remember, when you're doing this, make sure you have plenty of ventilation, wear a mask, don't have any open flames, don't let your kids come in and hang out with you while you're doing it. Alright, we'll let that dry. Hey everybody, thanks for checking out my videos, and despite having the looks and charm of Ryan Reynolds, I still need your help. If you could hit the like and subscribe button, I would greatly appreciate it. You can also find my work on Etsy. Just look up the Ox Gallery. Link will be right here. And actually it won't be because I haven't figured all that out yet, but in the future I'll figure all that out and get like a link here. But you can go to Etsy and look up the Ox Gallery, and eventually I'll have it all figured out. But the subscribe button should be right here, and hopefully it's not right on the face, which it probably is, but please subscribe, please like, and please be patient, and I'll have better videos coming soon as I figure all this out. Thank you much.